Vanessa Kirby, who plays quite brilliantly Princess Margaret, is here with us now. Gosh, so we saw a little snippet there, which is really exciting. Tell us a little bit about what kind of period in her life we're talking about in this particular bit.
So this season picks up where we left off in 1955, and it goes up to 64. I always wanted to do the late 60s because it's like the coolest fashion. But yeah, it goes up to 64 when just after she marries Tony Armstrong-Jones. So we see her as we left off in season 1 when she is in a really bad place. Obviously, I mean, just such a trauma to go through with the Peter Townsend sort of, yeah.
What I found interesting about in terms of preparing for this role, is that when you did series 1, you just read about Princess Margaret during that time frame because you didn't want to be influenced by what you knew about her later on. And then for this, did you do the same? So you just read sort of about the sort of 55 to 65 time? I just stopped because I think, you know, when I first sort of got the part, the main thing people said about her was that she was a sort of tragic figure. And I didn't know, I sort of didn't really know why. And so I didn't want to at all preempt anything that happened later on in her life or have any kind of preconceptions, and just try and play the sort of young girl that starts off at 17 and sort of grows up and goes through some really difficult things, actually.
What do you think, having played her, was what attracted her to Anthony Armstrong-Jones? Because they had a pretty volatile relationship, didn't they?
Yeah. I think we know that they did, definitely, especially as later on in the marriage. But I think he just represented everything that her family isn't. And I think with Margaret, what I loved playing about her so much is that she's this amazing conflict of somebody who's so essentially royal. I mean, totally. And also, I think I felt quite honoured, actually, to bring the kind of Peter Townsend story to life, the love story, because I didn't know anything about it. And it was so tragic. And for it to be remembered and to know how difficult it was then to be able, just because somebody happened to be divorced who'd been married before, it seems. So how brilliant for them. Yeah, there seems like a lot of excitement and hysteria, isn't it?
And I imagine the makers of The Crown must be also quite delighted. I mean, it's done incredibly well. When you first started, did you realise it was going to be sort of as massive, as popular, as large? What did you think about it?
No, I think, honestly, we had no idea. I knew my mum would watch it.
Perfect mum TV.
Like there'd be one person on Netflix watching it. But, no, we had no idea because it was, I guess, it was ambitious. Literally at the same time, yes. So I'd be on night shoots in Paris doing Mission Impossible, trying to learn how to use a knife, realistically, and then come back and put the wig on in the day and play Margaret. I was really exhausted. It was kind of two worlds colliding, really.
I enjoyed.
It just seems quite extraordinary. At one point, you have to have your hair dyed blonde overnight.
Yes.
In order to be ready for the next day.
I did. Yeah. I had to drive down. We were on set, kind of southwest England, and I had to drive back to Leavesden, which is North London, to get my hair dyed. Then drive back about 3 a.m. and then go on to set at sort of 5 or 6. It was quite mad. Yeah, I think there's a bit of Margaret in the Mission Impossible character. I think it was kind of slightly unavoidable.
When I watch it, I shall watch out for it. I'm sure there is.
I enjoyed reading the rumours about you and Tom Cruise getting married as well.
Hilarious.
Which I understand your boyfriend just laughed his head off.
Yeah, a lot.
Which is a good reaction to have.
A lot. You know, because I'd only met him Tom once by this point, and I was so embarrassed because I just thought I didn't want to bring it up with him because I just thought, you know, I think they kind of say we're getting married, but I'm not a fast mover. Yeah, no, my boyfriend found it the funniest, actually. Yeah, how strange. I literally met him in a room full of people once.
And that was the rumours. Well, I mean, it was really lovely to see you here today. Thank you very much indeed. And The Crown, you'll be glad to hear, is going to be available on Netflix from the 8th of December.
Can you watch the whole thing again?
Yeah, probably do it one go.
Okay, so you can full binge it.
Yeah, binge watching's a thing now, isn't it?
Yeah, it certainly is.
Great to see you. Thank you very much for coming in. That's it from us today. I couldn't speak there for some reason.